Welcome to The Longer Game, the only show that's dedicated to the future of retail. We bring on real-life people in the retail industry. We talk about their experiences, we share their stories, we apply it to what's currently going on in the market, and we look towards the future of retail. You could say it's Retail Reimagined. My name is Michael Marr. I run a customized, done-for-you service agency called Cartology that helps brands win on Amazon. Now, while my expertise stems in the Amazon field, we bring on a wide array of guests because retail is expansive. You've got e-commerce. Yes, you've got marketplaces like Amazon. You've also got brick and mortar that is evolving. You've got logistics. You've got technology, finance. There are so many aspects to retail, and it's complicated. So we're here to bring you the entire story. Do you think that you have an interesting story and you'd like to tell it on the podcast? Then go to thelongergame.com and fill out a form to be a guest on the show today. You can catch The Longer Game on any social channels: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and our website, thelongergame.com. We've got all awesome guests on this show, so that I will promise. Are you ready to hear more about the future of retail? Let's get down to business. Welcome, everybody, to the Longer Game podcast, where we talk all things retail. That's online, that's in store, that's branding, agency, whatever it might be. If it's about retail, we're going to talk about it. Maybe even if it's not about retail, we might talk about it. Just kind of depends upon my mood. And today on the show, we have the founder and CEO of Airpost, John Gargiulo. Welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Happy to be here. So I lead Airpost.ai. We make AI video ads out of whole cloth. Previously, I was at Airbnb for a few years in marketing. I'm here in the Bay Area. And in between those two, I had an agency still going strong called Ready Set that my co-founder of Ready Set runs now. He's amazing. His name's Sam McAlew. That makes video ads for paid social for DoorDash, Hims and Hers. You know, we have a big studio in LA. We're shooting all the time. So really, I've been in the vertical video ads at scale game for a long time. Obviously, Amazon's become a lot more interesting to us. Mostly historically, we've been on Meta and TikTok.
What necessitated or what drew you to, move away from maybe more the agency model to what you're now doing at Airpost?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both important for different reasons. A big company wants to have an agency to meet with, have QBRs with, think strategically, scale across, geographies and languages and personas. But there's a huge swath of businesses that really just need video ads to run. They hear Meta telling them they need to be testing at least 50 different concepts a month, even if they're only spending a few $1,000s. That seems impossible. It is pretty impossible. So we had all these smaller companies like asking for help, and we couldn't sort of dip down to help them because we work with enterprise customers. And I had this realization with my co-founder that, we could incubate a piece of software that could build these ads. Most video ads are mostly formulaic, 3 reasons why this water bottle will change your life, or, that kind of thing. And so we've got this recipe of concepts. We've got these AI robo chefs that go into the walk-in, full of ingredients, customer footage, our footage, AI footage, and mix up a bunch of dishes, using VOs, emojis, captions. All of that is really music. It's all something that you can make, these dishes out of and send them out to the dining room floor and see what works.
You were saying that, well, I love the kitchen analogy, and now I'm like hungry. But you talked about things being formulaic. And if you look at, and it also made an analogy towards like music, you look at a lot of music, there's certainly classical artists that maybe are, or just more avant-garde artists that are away from pop music. Or you look at someone like Frank Zappa, who's creating really strange sounds and new techniques and stuff like that. But then you look at, so there's like the edges of that, but then you look at the center, what really does well and works well, whereas something formulaic may seem like, oh, it's just this, the same thing over and over again. Stuff that works well is often 4 chords, very like simple, put together. And I don't know if you're familiar with, I know a little bit about Ed Sheeran, how he got taken to court because he said someone said that his song was copying their song, and he won the case because he went into the court and testified with his guitar and played, I think, like 100 songs back to back that were just like the a little bit of like chorus, same exact chords, same tempo, but changed the lyrics to all of them. And he's like, this is music. Like, music is very similar in some ways. I'm not stealing something. No one came up with these chord progressions and owned them. It's a part of the music catalog. So like, it seems like that's very similar to what you're doing in a way.
It's very similar, exactly. And we make top 40 hits.
Oh, I love that. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, but it's true. It's like, I'm not saying that we're Frank Zappa. We're not doing something super experimental. I mean, maybe someday. But I just watched a documentary on yacht rock. And, I forget the song now, the name of it, but there was a big hit song that like Kenny Loggins and Michael, the guy with the funny voice.
Michael McDonald.
Thank you. And it had this like carnival sound to it. And it came out and they called it the Doobie Brothers Bounce or whatever. Doobie Brothers did something, whatever it was a certain thing that you would recognize. And all the songs in the early 80s were using the same kind of, like you said, chord progression. So for us, that's like 5 reasons why. Like, you and I could pull up 10,000 ads that are some version of 5 reasons why you should know about this product, or, this product helps with rosacea or whatever. It's not copying. It's just, all new ideas are combinations of old ones. And so I mean it about top 40. We really try to stay in the middle and take that doobie bounce and like make a lot of songs with it. Because if you're a small company and you can't afford Michael McDonald or whatever, like, you could get the next best thing.
Michael McDonald would be great to be an ad. He's got such a super recognizable voice. I love it. I don't listen to him all that much, but I mean, he's an incredible piano player, incredible songwriter.
I have a new respect for him and that kind of music in that era. When you watch that documentary, it's really interesting.
Is there a reason why, or do you know why something like 5 reasons why you should like this product works? And is that something that people just kind of fallen into, or is there some more strategy behind it?
I have a strong theory on it. It's funny. There's music theory. There's kind of like
ad theory. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and I've been living it for like years. This since Facebook became a thing. People like to be educated. We see so many ads, and the ones that really perform, first of all, they collapse the whole funnel. Typically, there's some hook that gets your attention. It could be something cheap like squishing clay in a hand in fast motion, and you just can't stop watching it for some reason for 2.5 seconds, right? It could be I walked out of class, I was so embarrassed. Oh, why was she embarrassed? It's like any clickbaity kind of stuff, but ideally relevant to the product. And then people want to learn new things, so that they don't want to just see an ad that's like, you've got to try this, it's so great. You see that stuff all day long. You're not going to slow down for those. But when you see somebody speak specifically, I barely know what rosacea is. I don't know. I'm coming back to it. But like,
I like it.
Urology ad or something that's like, I had rosacea. I was super embarrassed, and this is how it was affecting my life. Affecting my life in a way that's really relatable and specific, not just like it was terrible and now it's great. And then I didn't realize that actually a lot of people have rosacea. 38% of people who blah blah. Oh, okay, I feel a little better. And then there's actually like 3 key things you can do to stop it within days. Like, okay, if I'm in that 2% of people that have that problem and are in the market for that product at that moment, like, I don't care about the other 98%. They're going to lean in and watch, but only if you're giving them new information and teaching them something. So the 5 reasons why often fits that mold.
There are so many ads that I'll see, and it's like, just click here and we're going to give you this thing. And then it's like a 30-minute video of like the most nonsense. And we're about to tell you. And you hang on sometimes. I've done that before, because it's like, all right, maybe this will be good. And usually halfway through, I'm like, this is nothing. You're
getting madder and madder, but you're like, but now you have so much sunk cost. And I was just watching a talk by Adam Robinson, who's a prolific LinkedIn poster. And he was saying like, one of the tropes that he sees all the time that works is, how to make Amazon ads that will make you $1 million in 30 days in under 60 seconds or whatever. Some very tempting thing in under 60 seconds. But the joke is every time you open it and it takes like 4.5 minutes to read or whatever, it's some video or some scroll. It's not actually 60 seconds. Yeah, the hook is really important, whether or not you deliver on it or not. It's like how many times have we clicked on a Google link that says the best, Black Manhattan recipe, and you go through 188 ads before you get to the ingredients.
Oh my gosh, you must be in my home because I love making cocktails and I will batch them ahead of time. And I'm in the process of batching something for a vacation. I'm flying down. My in-laws are going to bring my bar that I'm putting together. One of the drinks that I'm batching is a Black Manhattan. That's like one of my favorite cocktails.
I think they're delicious.
There's so many variations too. I was just talking with someone this morning about Amaro, how it's like saying I like wine, like so many different
Yeah.
kinds of wines.
Nonino, Averna, yeah.
Yep, Averna, Ramazzotti, Chinar, Montenegro, whatever. There's endless ones, but I think this is a podcast about retail. I don't know. Maybe we'll change it to be about cocktails. I've seen so many people who on Amazon are like, the guru. I'm not even gonna say fake guru because when I hear guru, it just feels fake to me anyway. So it feels like I'm saying guru or fake. But when I see those gurus on there, they lean into we're gonna get you to whatever the amount is with minimal effort. It's a get rich quick scheme. Like that's exactly what they're selling you. And it works because people will give them money and people will unfortunately lose money.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have some successes, but like those formulas do work to your point about content, to my point about music. Like people like those things for some reason. I don't know if it's like maximal impact for minimal effort.
Yeah. You're right. No, it works it's in the product world too. It's something that we face. We have competitors. I mean, you could go on Twitter and see a million people saying we make AI video ads, and they'll even show like a cool little bit of video, which you have no idea where it came from or how they made it. And they'll get thousands of likes and comments and people interested. You scratch the surface of the product, you actually use it, is just nothing there. I mean, it's either vaporware or it's just really bad. Everyone's churning out the other side. So we've taken a different tack with Airpost. We're very intentionally going for quality. I think most AI stuff, Michael, is not good enough. Like the vast majority of AI companies, I think everyone's had this experience, is what I'm talking about. You actually go to use it because you've heard cool things about it online, and maybe it's even cool the first day you use it, but 5 weeks later, you're just not using it every day. Our goal is to respect that that's the case. I don't think anyone, if you can't get to 90% the same quality or 95 as a manually made ad, it's basically worth zero. So all we do every day is wake up and build features focused on, we call it 90. We have a notion called 99 problems. Like what's the delta between what our ads look like now and what people are doing manually for thousands of dollars? Just closing that gap. That's all we care about. It sounds obvious, but you would be amazed at the things that people are putting out there in our space that are very much like get rich quickie. We can do every video ad and upload it to Facebook and test it for you. No, they can't. So we're just trying to stay focused.
There is so much talk about AI when like it's been around for a long time. Like Amazon is certainly in my world has been using it for a long time. It just got more popular as OpenAI started talking about ChatGPT and stuff like that, and people were starting to use it more. And of course, there's a lot more LLMs that are out there, but there's a lot of agencies I've seen that are now saying, like even newer agencies in the Amazon space that are like, we are AI led. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Now, we utilize AI in what we do, but a lot of times it's from an operational standpoint that allows us to then be more human and more creative and focus on more of the strategy. Right. And it just feels like at this point now, if you're leading with AI as your value prop, like you've got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's true. You're right. It's almost like the higher you put it up on the header, the less likely you're actually doing real stuff.
Yeah, it's a great point.
I couldn't agree more.
And
it's like, I know what I was thinking about. I was talking to another founder about how, the way people throw around stuff around AI, makes our heads shake. So like Operator from OpenAI, fantastic concept, live, API now live. For those listening not familiar, Operator, it's like a separate API, OpenAI website for pro users or whatever, but you can talk to this thing and it will go around a screen. It will act, tell it, I want you to go to my Facebook ad account, find ads that aren't working and pause them down and do other things I may not have thought of to optimize the account. Great. Go for it, Operator. And like literally it'll move the mouse around the screen. It'll log in. It'll try to do all the things I just said. And instead of being at a 90, it's at about a 21 right now.
Okay.
Like you got to babysit it. It asks you a million times, is this okay? Can you log in for me? What do you think of this? It's not good, but it exists. So he was saying like, he'll meet someone who's like, yeah, well, you could just do this thing and like, it's so easy. And AI could just do this, this, that. And then you would just use operator for, making all that happen. And he'll see a tweet and he's thinking like, no, you can't. Like,
Have you tried? Have you tried?
Yeah, exactly. I exactly. So and I have, and it's not good. Or like Ben Tussle, he was the first guy I started following. He really was like an early AI influencer. Ben's Bytes email, right? He was a Zapier guy, a product manager. He's a really positive, sunny guy. I think that's why people liked his thing. I mean, he started by just listing new AI companies, which is now not that important because there's like thousands of them.
Yeah.
But I just still get his email, and he just went on a rant the other day about this exact issue. And this is something, again, that in context that we're facing with Airpost is trying to focus on quality. Perplexity, big company, big announcement.
Mm-hmm.
You can now do actions, kind of operator-esque, on your iPhone with Perplexity. Book a restaurant reservation, add something to your calendar. I won't go into all the details, but he's like, no, you can't. Like, all it did was open up, search for restaurants
on
Cincinnati.
OpenTable or something.
Yeah, an OpenTable, and it did make a reminder, but it was for yesterday at the wrong time. And like, so there's just a lot of hype out there. And our theory is that a lot of those companies have a lot of ARR because there's a lot of kick tire ARR, but it's going to go back down. And we've already seen that with some companies. So we're just focused on actually delivering the most value for people and just trying to ignore the noise.
It feels like we have a tendency as humans to fantasize or over render what the future will look like because of insert technology here. So like you go back to the 1940s, 1950s, people are like, man, these flying cars are going to be amazing. It's like, I still have not seen my flying car, although you could speed really fast in some cars. There are planes. I don't know if those are flying cars, but something is flying. We have a tendency to, like, the internet, everything's going to, I don't even know what people were saying about the internet. Although there was an economist, I think in like 95. I have to look this guy's name up because I do reference him sometimes. He is quoted as saying, it's like people on the wrong side of history. He is quoted as saying, you will see 10 years from now that the internet has no more impact on the economy than the fax machine does. And I was like, this guy cannot have been any more wrong about the internet.
Of people felt that way back then. And don't forget, 5 years later, it peaked, and the next year it went down to almost zero. Amazon stock was down way over 90%. People forget that. Over 90%. If we all make fun of certain SPACs that are down 96%. Who knows? Maybe they'll be the Amazons of tomorrow. So it's very hard to predict. But yeah, I mean, to me, AI is going to change the entire world and the entire world of business. And it's barely begun to start. It's not changed almost anything yet. Almost no companies are actually using AI to make a lot more money or save a lot more money as of today. But if you read all the tweets, you'd think that it was. And like, why start anything? Because it's all going to change tomorrow. It's not. I think there's going to be a tipping point, Michael, where I'm calling it like a year to 2, 3 even from now, where actually industries really do change in a major way. And it actually affects the economy.
So many people say in 5 years, in 10 years. And I'm like, why 5? Why isn't it like 3.5? Like, it just feels like...
Because no one knows.
No one knows. And by the way, the guy's name is Paul Krugman. I looked it up. And his exact...
Oh, the New York Times guy. Yeah, he's kind of infamous for that.
Okay, his quote in 98 was, the growth of the internet will slow drastically as the flaw in Metcalfe's law, which states that the number of potential connections in a network is proportional to the square of the number of participants, becomes apparent. Most people have nothing to say to each other. By 2005 or so, it will become clear that the internet's impact on the economy has been no greater than the fax machines. And what I love...
What it reminds me of, speaking of because we're on one, is podcasting, right? Like, was it 2005 or so? I mean, podcasting was like, oh my God, this is going to be everything. The company before Twitter, Odeo, like that was a hot startup in 2006. And it was like, this is going to take over the world and be a huge business. And then I think Mark Cuban was either he was a proponent or he wrote some famous post that either said it was going to be huge or said it's stupid and not going to go anywhere. And then it didn't go anywhere. And then it went down a lot for years while Joe Rogan was, recording things that nobody was listening to. And now it's a massive industry. So it's just hard to predict, man. But AI, like, clearly fundamentally is changing. It's like people. It's like artificial people. I mean, there's no way that's not going to be impactful. It's just they're not very good yet. They're like a lot of kind of bozo interns. My friend said something really.
I like that a lot. Like a bunch of bozo interns.
They are. So it's
That's
like,
good.
oh great, I got a massive bozo interns outside. Like, but it's not, how helpful is that? My co-founder in Ready Set, I was at his house yesterday. He said something I thought was insightful. Let's see if I can get it right. I promised myself, like, I got to repeat this because it's so interesting. So things that you and I don't know much about, like I don't know almost anything about rocket science and how a rocket gets into outer space, other than like two basic things. I think if I were curious watching all the SpaceX launch or something, and I ask a question at any level about how spaceships re-enter the atmosphere, it's going to be so much smarter than I am. It may be a bozo intern, but it has spent a lifetime studying everything about that subject, and I'm going to be blown away. So if you are a novice at something, it's really impressive.
I love that.
If you are an expert at Amazon ads, as you are, and Amazon, and you ask it a question about like, hey, I heard this thing is hot, that people are supposed to be doing X and Y with sponsored ads. How would you set up this account? It's not going to be dumb, but it's not going to be at 90 for you.
No, for
like,
sure.
You're not going to just offload. Yeah. I'll just do what it says. It's so much better than I am. It's a rocket scientist. No, you're going to be like, yeah, that's mostly true. He even was saying he just finished a book and he asked AI to summarize it. And it was okay, but he got a couple things off and very confidently said some things that were weird. So I like that. It's like, if you're a novice, AI can be extremely additive. I mean, it's semi-obvious, but it's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
If you're an expert, and this is the important part, and this is what's going wrong with a lot of stuff now, it's actually not that incremental yet. So I think that's what's happening, is why I see a rocket, AI startup and go, wow, that must be really cool, helpful for rocket engineers. And rocket, scientists are like, this is not very helpful, and they're not using it.
I also think people talk about AI replacing people, and it certainly can replace things, even in a creator economy or any economy. But you look at any revolution, like the Industrial Revolution, there is a period of time where some things deprecate, but new things come up. So we always freak out like, all right, it's going to take all these jobs. My first question is, it's going to sound a little harsh, but is that a job that you should or need to be doing? Number one, is there really a skill set that you're bringing to the table, or can that thing be automated? Because I think humans have a lot more capability, but they have to be challenged to lean into it. Kids at a very young age across in a school setting, when they're not challenged, they don't live up to the standard. And when they are, when there's discipline along with what they do, they actually get way more out of it. And it doesn't matter. It could be low economic to high economic status, but you challenge these kids and hold them accountable, they will fall in line. So what is the job that you're doing? Are you actually providing something in that role? That's the first place I think to start.
I think that's right. I think of it as like abundance. And I think it's the unknown unknowns of like, well, wait, if we don't have software engineers and we don't have, X, Y, Z, B, what the hell are people going to do? But, no one could have predicted that people would be software engineers 30 years ago. Like, you just can't predict it. My favorite example is this photo that always sticks in my mind of this huge building warehouse kind of in Syracuse, New York. And there's lines and lines of desks with mostly happen to be women working on these advocacy things in 1922 or whatever. And their title was computer. They were at a big insurance company. Their job was, I'm a computer.
That's amazing.
Actuarial tables.
Yeah.
And obviously all those people are replaced by, desktops.
But no one's complaining about that right now.
And in this data, that insurance companies have way more people per revenue, way, way more humans working at them than they did that. But back then, if you looked at that floor and were like, well, all this is about to go away, what are people going to do? Oh no, that's just not how it works.
But you also said there's a little bit of I don't know if I'd call it a pendulum, but there's certainly like a curve of like, you look at, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like Seth Godin has this curve of like the entrepreneur's path to pain or something like that. And it's like, you have an idea and it's like, oh, okay, this is really good. And then you're like, I'm onto something. Then you're like, okay, this is kind of getting more challenging.
Oh yeah.
And it goes down. And then it's like the trough of sorrow is at the bottom.
That's
like,
what it's called.
I can't figure it out. I can't do anything. I don't know what's going on. And it's in that then you start to see, and of course it's not going to happen with every single thing, but then you start to see, okay, maybe it is possible. All right, we're getting somewhere. And then you go all the way up high like, man, this is amazing. We got it. But it requires that trough to get to where you want to go. And that is what a lot of like tech goes through. So like first, is your job valuable? Are you providing, I don't like saying the term value, but are
No,
you,
I understand.
is your,
Incremental,
is what you're doing really impacting society with what you are uniquely designed to do and God made you to do? Or are you just kind of, computing and that's what you bring to the table? Then the next thing is there will always be a need. Always, I will rail against this until the day I die. There will always be a need for humans and for creativity, and certainly AI can get more creative. But like you said, people would never imagine that we would have software engineers. Like, there's a reason why people are not the strongest species, but we have the capability to think and create and have imaginations. That's why we are so prolific.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that's not going anywhere. That said, if you really want to blow your mind,
Yes, I
know
do.
we're getting kind of existential here. Elon Musk tweeted something recently, and I was like, "Oh God!" He said, "Who knew that human beings were really just bootloaders for AI? Mind whatever. Like, basically, most things our brains can do, Michael, the connections it can make, even the creativity. We'll see. I think it's really early. I'm talking about picture 30 years from now. We'll hopefully still be alive. It's not not very far at all. Humans might just be really behind what the connections and synapses that computers can put together and create, and that's going to be a weird weird world to live in anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we've also used technology in a way that we've advanced so much. Maybe not at the end of the day, but like technology has been a gift and a curse. Great example of that. Because of the internet and because of our phones, we are so connected. We've got more information. We're smarter because of it. We have better access to information. That information is almost more equally accessible as long as someone has an internet connection. Might take a little bit longer to load, but like we've got access to so much more information. And so we've got that at our fingertips.
Yeah.
And we are so attached to our devices. We don't interact with each other as much. Newer, younger generations that are growing up on phones being just innate in what they do. Gen Z, Gen Alpha deal with more depression, deal with higher suicide rates, more loneliness, less people with friends. Like that is a pendulum that I think will eventually have to swing back because people need community, need that connection. That will never change.
Yeah, I hope it will. And I think it will.
It sounds like at least you have that with your co-founder because you were over at his house yesterday.
Oh, dude. Yeah. In our company, it's actually interesting take on that. Like, we've been a fully remote company, our agency. That I'm full on Airpost since January 1st.
Okay.
But like, I'm still on the Slack and everything. And we're 200 people, all fully remote since pre-COVID, people all up and down North and South America. And the culture we've built is really amazing. And there's just something about, I don't know, emojis and like quick instant stuff, photos of people. We have like, you get together at a bar, whatever. So there's in real life stuff included in that and sprinkled in there. But there's some people I've never met until 3 years in. I went to an offsite in Toronto. Right?
Yeah.
And it just works. So I have not seen the movie yet, but I don't want like a Ready Player One world where you're like just in a box. You don't have any other human connection in real life. But it is interesting, some of these community tools that are good. And then some of the other stuff that's a little harder on young people.
Yeah. And I've talked about, how some things go wrong. There's certainly a demand for the dystopian that would come out of something like, I think about like Ex Machina or something like that, where
that movie freaked me out.
It was crazy. And then the movie, I always get this wrong, but the movie She with Joaquin Phoenix. Her, thank you. I always mix that up. That to me was like hilarious and also a little crazy. And I didn't see the end coming. Maybe I should have, but that to me was what I feel like we imagine is like the machines are going to be so much further ahead of us. And I still think we'll have an edge on them, but like you said this before, we don't know.
No, we don't know.
It's like we want to be crystal ball predictors, but there's no way that we can.
No, and it's fun. I love building like along the way. It's awesome. It's an incredible moment in history.
When we're talking about influencers, creator economy, all that stuff, it feels like I could totally be wrong, but that there's a lot of influencers out there now. There is a lack of trust from consumers just in general. influencers provide maybe a little bit more trust than a traditional media outlet or the company directly, because
For sure.
it's more relatable and maybe
No
it's
one's
less
listening to companies
produced.
directly anywhere anymore. LinkedIn, blog post. Yeah.
And people don't want to maybe have something as polished. A little bit more relatable works. Like I've heard people talk about ugly ads. Like they work
Mhm.
because they connect with the person. And even if it's off brand, like if it helps you sell product and gets, more customers, then like revenue is
Yeah, they just don't
always
look
on
like
brand.
ads, which is a goal in itself.
Which they don't look like ads. But it seems like the next level would really be, and I don't know how involved in this you are, but creating some kind of community around, like a creator community, or maybe you've got certain access to these creators or influencers, or you're bringing people in who are already buying your product and building a community out of them, instead of it just being macro and micro influencers. Like, hey, you have 5,000 people that follow you, you already buy our products, we'd like to invite you into that. Like that feels like next level
Definitely.
from an engagement standpoint.
Yeah, when I was at Airbnb, I mean, our CMO was really into community marketing. It's had its moments, it's had its ups and downs the last 20 years, but I think you're onto something. I think, feeling like you're part of a community. We have a company, client at Ready Set called Wild Alaskan Salmon, and they have like Facebook groups with thousands of people that are just sharing recipes from what they're getting from this like, fish delivery company.
Yeah.
So I think community is really going to be more and more valued as things get more her.
I love that. So, where you talked about creating features for people, how do you come up with features at Airpost that are, better serving the community that you're going after,
I don't think we're really a community product yet.
or the audience that you're going after, I should
Yeah, I
say.
mean, we're definitely building in public. So, as we think about things, as we hear things, as people, we build new features, as we make mistakes, as we have successes, we're sharing it openly. That's like going from contrarian to more common, but it's still pretty uncommon. That would be the best thing I could say that we're doing now that just makes it feel part of just like you're along for the ride together. It's not a company talking at you.
Where are you sharing that stuff at? Just like on
LinkedIn mostly.
okay, and is
That's
it
where most of our customers are. Companies spending 5-10 million, or sorry, 5-10 million revenue. Amazon sellers, folks on Meta, Shopify, Plus. That's the best customers for Airpost.
and is it you talked about like people aren't necessarily engaging with companies? Are you doing it through Airpost, or are you doing it through your?
No, not at all. It doesn't work anymore. Like I've been writing the LinkedIn thing for 10 years, and it's really people want to hear from people. They want to hear from the founder often.
Yeah, I think that I've seen a lot of CPG brands that they just have a presence and are known, and they're not even necessarily directing people back to their product, but like it's a level of like awareness marketing of just putting content out there, and that makes, I think, even from a B2B standpoint, that makes the sales process easier. I had a prospect that I talked to like a month ago, and I've had waves of consistency on LinkedIn. I've been a lot more active this year. Past 2 years, I was not. I was really focusing on the operational side of the business, growing that out, but I was certainly busy before. And this guy's like, oh, yeah, I think we engaged, pre-pandemic, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't necessarily remember that. But he's like, yeah, I've been following your content for a long time, blah, blah, blah. Like, gave me insights about what he liked about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like there was a willingness when I reached out to him cold, or at least what I thought was cold. He now knew a little bit about me. He had an insight into maybe my personality, my tone. He was willing to take a call with me because of that. And that's probably the almost influencer-ish in a way, like you're relating to
Yes.
people, and so they want to know more about that.
100%. I mean, one thing we found at our agency is just being public on LinkedIn and, sharing a bit about ourselves and business and what we do and some expertise there and what we're learning led to more leads than anything else.
I love that. This has been such a fun conversation. I didn't even realize that we've come this far for this long. But if people want to know more, so I appreciate you coming on. If people want to know more
Yeah,
about
it's fun.
about what you're doing, where should they look? Your
Yeah.
co-founder's house, or
Yeah, right. Don't go there. No, LinkedIn. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn, John Gargiulo, and then Airpost. Yeah, check it out. We're just building and really trying to learn from our customers. So if you feel like you're not running enough video ads, come by Airpost.ai. You can get some ads to look out for free. Would love your feedback.
awesome,
And
cool.
I'm just John at Airpost.ai.
Love it. John at Airpost.ai. I've given people my phone number on things before. No one ever called me, but well, I mean, maybe they did.
I'm coming close to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. All right, everyone. That's the show. That's all we got for you today. Until next time. All right. That was the show. What did you think? That was the longer game. We would love for you to share the show with other people and to leave us a review of the show. So go to iTunes, go to Spotify, you can go to YouTube, comment, leave a review, and share this on any social channels that you are active on and wherever you have influence. We want to share this story and stories like it to as many people as possible. Do you have a compelling story and do you want to come on the podcast and talk about it and you're in the retail industry? Then go to thelongergame.com, fill out a form, and we will contact you about coming on the show. You can find us on any social channels, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and you can go to our website, thelongergame.com, to actually read all of these episodes in blog form in text, because we know not everyone's going to listen. This podcast is brought to you by my agency, Cartology. We are a customized, done-for-you service agency that helps brands win on Amazon. It is super complex selling on the Amazon marketplace. We help simplify that for you. This podcast is also brought to you by Podcastify Me. They are a full-service podcast production company that designs podcasts around people who are paid for their advice. That is coaches. If you want someone to help create, strategize, and distribute your podcast to the masses, go to podcastify.me to find out more. I've so enjoyed that you've been a part of the conversation and that you've given of your time to hear these people's stories. We'd love for you to share. If you want to find out more, just go to thelongergame.com. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay blessed. And until next time, cheers.